Hey, salute to everybody joining me today. I put a little some thought into this stream before I decided to create it because I'm always fascinated by the politics of today and what people think that the government's supposed to be doing for them. And I titled the stream a certain way for a reason. The less you depend on government, the better your life will be. Now, don't get me wrong. That doesn't mean I don't have compassion and empathy for those people who lose their jobs, those people that are legitimately disabled veterans, or people that need temporary benefits to get them on their feet during a time of hardships and struggle. And that's what the system was designed for, to help people that are in need of assistance. It wasn't designed to be a system of dependency where people will be on it from year to year, struggling just to get by, struggling just to meet their basic needs. And that's why I really had this conversation, because one of the things with me working in a certain profession is I always find it fascinating. Every 4 years or every year, election time, you have people with certain mindsets and certain mentality, and you can tell by the way they talk. Me, I've never really cared for any of these plantations. I really do not. I've always been an independent, free thinking, independent voter. And I always wonder every year, when I worked in a certain profession, we had to scan our fingers in after a while to punch in on a clock for shift work. And I always used to wonder about people. They would have certain ideologies. And I was to ask the question fundamentally is this: if this particular political party wins, or that particular political party wins, what exactly do you expect to change in your life? Will you lose some weight? Will you get more money? Will your quality of life become better if this particular political party win? What miracle is going to happen in your life that you're not going to do for your own life, yourself as an individual? So tell me what's going to change in your life. Then 2 years later, I would see the same people. We'd all be punching the same clock. And I would ask, hey, since your guy or your person won, what has changed in your life? And the truth of the matter is not a damn thing. Because anything that we want changed in our life, we have to do it ourselves. Unfortunately, there is no miracle policy or cure that's going to make life better for any damn body. That's just the truth of the matter. That's just the truth. And I see all these content about SNAP benefits, welfare programs, and all this other shit. And I asked the question fundamentally. The question I always ask, the question that lags in my mind: who's running shit at your house? It's a question I always ask. Who's running shit at your house? Is Uncle Sam running shit at your house? Do you have who's the leader? And I know certain people are born into certain environments, and environments does have a huge role in shaping people. But the type of crash outs that I've seen on the internet is absolutely ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Especially when I'm looking at people crashing out with $1,600 iPhones in their hand, $1,600 iPhones, talking about committing crime, going into stores, committing crime. Like, people owe you something, owe you things, the store owe you shit, Walmart owe you crap. Politicians and political people encouraging this type of debauchery. But when your ass get locked up, Ain't none of them people gonna bail you out. You got a criminal record now. You still ain't get the outcome that you want. Imagine serving time in jail for some meat or some food from the local grocery store. What an imbecile. It makes no damn sense. But this is the state of things that we're in right now. And I'm watching these conversations, and I can't help but wonder, is this some great reset? Obviously, I know that for a fact that there's not going to be any approval of these programs until after, when is the next Tuesday for election day? Let's see. When is the next Tuesday? Let's see. Hold on one second. You send that over there. Somehow miraculously, after what's the first Tuesday of the month? Yeah. Hold on one second. Put it up there. I had to send a video to my chat, you know. Where we at? Let me get the calendar up here. There we go. So we got November 4th, which is election day. The November 4th election day. I suspect that the government will be closed until after the November 4th election day. And as soon as the outcome comes out November 5th and 6th, somehow miraculously after November 5th and 6th, they're going to find a way to meet a compromise, and the government's going to be opened back up after November 5th, after November 4th or 5th, but this Tuesday, after this Tuesday, somehow miraculously the government will be reopened. After the political balance and power has been established even more, and they're going to find a way to meet somewhere and resolve the issue, because there's nothing, the balance of power has already been decided. And again, a lot of people think that these politicians give a rat's ass about them. And I saw somebody left a comment today about the Epstein file. Nobody's releasing no Epstein file. They didn't do it under Biden. They're certainly not going to do it under Trump. Why would they expose their friends? Why would those people all belong to a club, Republicans and Democrats? They all know the perverts in their club, and all these perverts have donated tremendous amount of money, whether it be their corporate or political perverts. They're not going to expose the Epstein file. This is all political banter and nonsense that they're talking about. There's nothing to do. They could care less about what you think and all. It's just a political, ping pong that they play with those files. It's never coming out. You can forget about it. There's too many people's name on there that have too much power in this society. But I see these videos over and over again. And I think this lady said it. I did this TikTok. I saw this video. And it was interesting what the sister said. Let me see if I can pull that up. Hold on a second. Let me share screen. Hold on one second. And she asks a valid question. There you go, my sister. Let me go ahead and play it loud and clear so they can hear you. Let me just play it. There you go. Go ahead, my sister.
I'ma just say this and leave it alone. If a real man was in the house, a motherfucker wouldn't be on no goddamn food stamps. Y'all just garbage. Shut the fuck up, please. Just stop being pitiful.
So, obviously, there's a lot of women that I have to give them credit that push back against this narrative and whatever. Looks like a woman that's being covered by a man. And She's given her opinion. If you had anything good in your household, you wouldn't be all over social media putting out these videos about the government and the bullshit that's going on with the government. You wouldn't even care because your situation would be completely covered. And she's right. Say it again, my sister. Go ahead.
I'ma just say this and leave it alone. If a real man was in the house, a motherfucker wouldn't be on no goddamn food stamps. Y'all just garbage. Shut the fuck up, please.
She has a point there. Where are the men? Where are the men that these people are choosing to mate with? And Malcolm X had warned the Black community about this, and not just Black people that are on this stuff. Let's be honest. We can say it straight up. White people are on it as well. He said, Joe Chet said, all the big boss and female hustlers are quiet because they get all government empowered. Like, they're all government empowered. Either they find strength in feminism through government programs. Obviously, I can't use DEI because only like 4% of them benefit from them. But they benefit from everything that's government, that's women's empowerment. Whether it be through certain things with colleges and admissions and loans and whatever else, all these programs designed that particularly benefit them is just government empowerment. What is not empowerment for them is the nuclear family and community. The nuclear family and community is not powerful for them. In fact, they'll give men the middle fingers. So when things hit the fan, who do you turn to? That's the question. Who do you turn to when shit hit the fan? You haven't nurtured anything in the community with men, but you don't see a whole bunch of men on the internet complaining about losing those SNAP benefits. I mean, I don't see the men complaining about these SNAP benefits programs because men just don't know that they have to go through some shit and prepare themselves for what's to come. We always know that we don't feel any security from government unless you just a bum ass dude, and you want them, professional victims or whatever else. Most dudes understand, look, hey, you got to get it how you got to get it. Ain't nobody coming to save you. So, and again, as this stuff dries up, what do you have? What do you have? And I see it even now with a lot of women who've put that focus primarily on their career, and they understand with inflation the way it is. AI is coming with, obviously quantum computing and AI is going to be huge, going forward. And it's a tremendous amount of pressure that you see because, again, part of the strength comes from family and community. However you design it, however you set it up. And when you don't have that backing of family and community, you're standing on shaky ground. And when hard times come for you, it's not like you can just go and, whatever you covered, or maybe maybe grandma and granddad left you some land somewhere that you can build a little house on and plant some crops and do whatever you have to do. No, that's generational, and that generational has been broken. And that's the fundamental problem that you see right now. That's, like I said, that's why you see what's happening right now. A lot of men are feeling the inflation aspect of things, but men can do things like, obviously, like I get out there, I was taking an alternator out of my own car the other day. For a woman to pay to get an alternator taken out of her car, it's going to cost her some money, especially these alternators in this tight spots. I did it myself. So it only cost me money for the part. Fixing things costs a certain amount of money, but it's easy for me as a bachelor to survive because 9 times out of 10, unless it's some complicated shit where I have to dig in the ground to get at a pipe or something, I can fix it. and I'm only paying for the part. And we know sometimes it's the labor that breaks your ass. It ain't the part, it's the labor, you know. Would you just say, not only is it fundamentally about family and community, but it also exposes that many women have price and morals and principles will go out the window. Yeah, we know it. Unfortunately, we headed that way. Because what I see now is, even after this guy is done, based on what I see from that other side, there's going to be another 4 years of the same, with a different politician doing the same thing. And I think the government empowerment train has ran out. I'll be honest with you. From what they're putting forward in terms of the people that are going to be representing that side, I think it's tough. The government empowerment train is gone. I think it's completely gone. And he said, well, they were already doing that. And the crazy part about it is this: when inflation kicked up, what were they doing? What they were trying to do was the religious backdoor with marriage. A lot of those types of women that were never even raised to be wives, they were trying to religious their way into marrying a simp. And that's not even working that well, because sometimes you can't even get the simps in the church. You said they want to be men, but to be a man, you have to have strength, wisdom, skills, accountability. They think of masculinity as being aggressive. They yell toxic masculinity by trying to be men, which is the absolute worst thing a woman can do. Because I was talking to a Black woman, and I was telling her about it. That masculinity, that stuff is dangerous, man. That's why so many women, there's been an issue with years with Black women dying in childbirth, giving off that impression and that image of this masculine, tough, superhuman person. People tend to give you less care. People tend to give you less protection. So it's actually dangerous. I mean, if you look at even the heroes. You watch Lord of the Rings, the Lady Galadriel. She's very feminine. Look at Wonder Woman. She's very feminine, and femininity is power. Even though they're doing things that are, whatever. But you look at us, we got the Woman King. So they're setting themselves up for their own destruction. That's like I've always said, whoa. This is why we lose so many Black women in childbirth sometimes. It's because it's just a terrible situation, that masculine energy. And they don't the power of feminine energy. They don't understand it. Feminine energy is tremendous power. And they were blaming it on all types of things. And I was funny is that because global travel is critical. I'll travel to places, I travel to places like Asia and whatever else. I'll see women that work on construction site. They're just as feminine as ever. And they're working out their construction with the men. So this idea that, having to work or having to do things to change a woman's femininity is absolutely crazy, But, and a lot of them too, they make the argument that there's not a lot of qualified men. There's a whole lot of qualified men out there. He's Tahiti Rossi. Black men and Black women's relationships have become way too adversarial for us to come together willingly. It's going to take God to bridge our gap or a few generations of apart. The problem is there in the West, particularly, it's matriarchal culture. In matriarchal culture, the women themselves think that they're better than the men. It's like a hyena structure. And we know how males are respected in the hyena clan. So when you have a matriarchal culture, by birth and by definition, their mindset and mentality, the average woman looks at the average man with a certain level of disgust in our community, even though they will sleep with certain individuals out of just pure raw attraction. They really don't have any respect for the men, even the good quality men. And they say, well, some of the men don't deserve no respect. And it, nah. You just turn that community into a matriarchal, using our good old friend over there, Lyndon Bean Johnson, and being manipulated by feminism. And they gave them a taste of power. And when they gave them a taste of power, they took it and ran with it. We can control the men. We can have babies without them. We can get support from the government. And this is not all women. There's certain women. I mean, you see, you go back to even the early 80s or 70s and 80s, and you look at Oprah Winfrey and them and those hardcore feminists coming out with, you see the color purple narrative being pushed of people that were never even oppressed by black men to begin with. That's between white men and their women. And the problem with it won't bridge the gap in probably my lifetime, but I don't think they have much of a choice. The fundamental problem is that they weren't raised to be under the leadership of men. And I always said it before, the male lion cannot tame or control the hyena. They're not going to follow under your leadership. The male lion cannot lead the hyena. They were just not raised to be under the leadership of men. They were raised to bucket, to destroy you, to cause problems for you. So it's just a tough situation, man. Come on, man. Oh, man. Easy. Oh, yeah. It's the requirements that they put on men to listen. It's just a dysfunction of matriarchal culture, right? I always tell people, like, you can come on any corner. You could go some of these corners in these cities before this ICE thing was there. You'll see like some Mexican dude and his wife who just came across the border. And that woman will respect that dude, right? That woman will respect that dude. And the dude don't have, like, he out there selling flowers with his wife, and his wife respect him. Because it's a patriarchal culture. Like, even when I went to go to the farmer's market on the weekend, I already knew that the black community in America was going to be replaced. Because I looked at the Hispanic community, I saw patriarchy. I saw families together, mother, father, husband, grandmom, this extended family structure. Patriarchy will always outperform a matriarchy in time. And that's the fundamental problem, man. He said, salute to you, my brother Jay Legend. Hey, you guys, make sure you hit the like button coming in, man. I'm just having a discussion with the brothers today. You know what I mean? And it's crazy, man. Yeah, I mean, never oppress them. Oppress them how? What power did the black men in America have to oppress the women? In fact, they would give the women jobs just to make the black men look bad. You know, they'll be like, yeah, we'll put these women above you, sorry ass bastards. Or they'll try and, they'll do all kinds of crap. So you said a lot of black men and black women want different things in life. And even when we do have the same objective, we have different ways of getting there. It's a shame that modern relationships are like this. Well, the fundamental problem is that even if you get into a situation with a woman, the voices that are around your relationship, have you ever seen like sometimes I've seen successful, black couples just walking by and chilling, enjoying their life. And I will see like a black woman or some single black woman or something like that, looking at them with a certain level of disgust. It's like they thirst for that relationship, but they hate it at the same time. And that envy and that jealousy and that frustrations, they will sabotage each other's relationships. They literally will get in that woman's ears and put all kinds of bullshit in her head, feminist garbage. They literally sabotage good relationships. Their friends' relationships, they'll try and sabotage it. Family members' relationship, they'll say all kinds of things. Because you know that saying, men compete, women assassinate, women assassinate each other. You know what I mean? Like they literally assassinate each other. You just watch them and how they operate. They'll take each other's kneecap out, but they'll be smiling in each other's face. It's even worse when they go on vacation together. It's crazy. You said, I've seen what you talk about. Yeah, they're rough, man. They're rough, dude. They're real rough. Black women are hard on each other when it comes to assassinating each other's character. I mean, literally. You notice that, man? Watch. I'll tell you what. Let a black couple, good-looking man, good-looking woman, especially a black woman that works out and takes care of her body, and she's with a man that those women would desire, and the two couple walk into a place. I was going to make a video about that. The hatred, they just in shape black women get hatred. From going to the gym, the women hate them. Don't be a woman that likes to be with men, like good men, in a healthy relationship. Woo! Man, you'll see the look of evil from these broads. I'd be like, yo, why are you looking at why are you looking at the sister like that? Damn. What'd she do to you? But they'll be in each other's ear, pretending to be friend. Girl, girl. So relationships itself in that community, the exterior pressure that comes to treat that man like crap. I'm always believed that if a black woman has a relationship with a good man in a decent situation, it's better that she not tell her friends how good she treats her man at home. Like if she spoils her man and takes good care of her man at home, and I'm sure he reciprocates, keep it to your damn self. Don't tell nobody you cook for your man or do this for your man or do that for your man. Keep it to yourself. Because that community, that sisterhood, they see only men in position of servitude. They're better off just not telling your friends. So that's the fundamental problem, is that the pressure that's put on a relationship over time, because if that woman has a bad day with you and she goes and talks to her single, miserable hyena sister or her hyena friend, they're going to sabotage that. Like that, women assassinate, men compete. They're going to assassinate that relationship because that's what they desire for themselves. So they're not going to let their sister be happy with a man and they ain't got no man. Man, shoot. And that's what you see with a lot of these feminists out here. They love assassinating the character of men and assassinating relationships. That's what they do best. Because they don't, deep down inside, they have a desire to be with a man. And they know their actions and their behavior is unnatural. They don't even feel good sleeping at night. They be gaslighting, virtue signal, pretending or whatever. You know how you can tell how they are? They'll talk all that crap. Then they go to Jamaica. And then old Quentin come walking down that beach. You walk dark-skinned Quentin walking down that beach. Yeah, where you going? Where you going, ladies? And he start kicking that Jamaican game to him, and he all in shape. Quentin pull out his flip phone, even though he has an iPhone. He had about 5 iPhones that the Western European white ladies bought him. But he pulls out a flip phone because he's trying to get a new iPhone so he can sell all 3 or 4 of them. They'll abandon each other and they disappear for a whole week. You can't even find them. They up there in the room getting folded up by Quentin and shit. You know what I mean? You know, it's like crazy, man. He said, word has to go get back to the sisters that you're out here making black men smile. Nah, man. I get kicked out of the crowd. No, but I mean, they're in a pickle. I mean, what are you gonna do? You see, that self-esteem of government empowerment is gone. See, government empowerment gives them when they are okay. If Kamala Harris had won the election, again, I'm an independent voter. If she had won the election, could you imagine how much shit they'd be talking to men now? They'd be calling men all kinds of names. Look at you. We got this now, girl. We don't need no that. If you imagine the "we don't need no man" mantra that would be going on if Kamala Harris won the election, Kamala Harris, man, they would be talking mad shit about men, men this, men that. They'd be trying to transition us all. They'd be trying to turn us all into trannies. You know what I mean? Like, yo, they'd be going off right now. You know, they would be mouthing off, telling us what bums and what losers we are. Be crazy, you know? He said he's going out of order. And then natural that they despise happily ever after with men and even success to a degree. Oh, yeah. But they thirst for it. It's like they're fighting against nature. They're fighting, it's like an internal struggle, some type of crazy perverted dichotomy that's going on in their brain. They say they are strong and independent, don't want no man, but when they see a woman with a man that they want and they look happy, thirst hate relationship. I was going to make a video called relationship thirst hate, where they thirsting for relationship but don't know how to be in a relationship. They can't keep a man to save their life because they can't treat him. Any man that has self-respect is going to go up against what he's up against the sisterhood. Her and the voices that are behind her, she can't treat the man good because, they'll, if she tell them they treat him good, then they got another problem. Right. They're crazy, right? Oh, man, they'd be disrespectful, crazy if she won, man. Say Luke Skywalker. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, man. If Kamala Harris won, all this crap they saying now with black love, guys, we got to bring the community together. Isn't that what Kevin Samuels was trying to do? Isn't that what Ice Cube was trying to do with the Contract for America? What happened? When Ice Cube presented this Contract for America, what did Vivica Fox and them was saying? What's in it for black women? When Kevin Samuels was trying to save the community and relationships, they called him a misogynist, laughed at his death. It's crazy. Exactly. They're at war with God's design, and they're going through some. If we only knew the amount of women that are on medication, the amount of mental insanity that's out here, because again, they're getting passed around like some Skittles, and some of them are already tasting the rainbow as it is, but they're getting passed around. Even the studs are getting crushed out here. These studs out here are getting tortured. Their situation is worse than men, probably. I don't know. These studs out here, and you heard us saying studs is his new stepdaddy. These studs are out here getting cooked. So they're not even getting along with women. So I don't know who's left. Yeah, exactly. So people have tried this. I see a lot of channels, right? And that's why I always say I only focus on the 5% women, because that's all you can live with. And everybody's talking about, how do we fix this? How do we? The blueprint has already been there. Kevin Samuels did it. Yeah. He said, if our husband they would still have food stamps and no soft. Yep, pretty much. Man, they'd be talking all kinds of shit to the brothers. They'd be telling you what kind of bums you are. Even successful brothers like myself and you brothers in the chat, good, honorable, hardworking brothers. They would be calling you all kinds of names, all kinds of bums. Man, even dudes like respectful men, no matter what type of education or success you have in your life. If you were one of us, they'd be, if she won, woo, man. You talk about the government programs in there, the women's programs in there, women's empowerment. See, that's the crazy part about it. They don't really want to do anything to empower the men, because the power to empower the men is to have real community. You'd have to fall under the men's leadership. Is designed to keep the men weak, try to keep the men weak. But even with all of the things that have been used by that community, by the government, to oppress the brothers, the men have still raised up. Part of it is the manosphere and men's content. Part of it is guys like Kevin Samuels, and even guys with the Nation of Islam and people like Farrakhan and everybody else pouring into men. Even with all of the damn crap that's been thrown at black men have been still risen up. And the majority of the population have done well. That 15% that be doing all the debauchery is the small representation of the whole population of men. And we look at 56% no kids, over 60% in the middle class. So despite all of the systematic things that were thrown the way, the men have still done well. And there's a whole lot of eligible men out here. Maybe they're a plumber or a technician or whatever else. There's a whole lot of eligible bachelors out here. Just none of them is crazy enough to put up with the bullshit, unless they're an absolute crazy, you know what I mean? So, I mean, like, think about it like this. The women don't even come into my channel giving me a hard time no more. These black women don't give me no hard time no more. They used to come up in here when the Democrats were in power talking all kinds of crap to me. All peaceful life. You're a misogynist. You old bald head, this. Call me all kinds of old bald head, this, and that. They don't even come here no more. Which lets me know that they're toast. The women don't even bother to insult me no more. I appreciate them not insulting me anymore. I'm not trying to get them to come back and call me misogynist all day long. They can go with, but they're not trying to bother me anymore. The women don't come bother me and harass me anymore. If anything, I try to do some things sometimes to, inspire some conversation sometimes. They're not buying into it. So what happened is their legs were taken out from under them. And that level of security that they felt by the government is gone. Because the government was their man. The government was their future. The government was their husband. The government was their provider and their protector. Yeah. That's why you see them, they're so loud and boisterous sometimes. Because they got 911 on speed dial. Yeah. They got that 911 on speed dial, man. And they have no problem calling the man on your ass. But now things are changing a little bit. I mean, they're not going to change. I mean, obviously, we talk about the monetized dating and relationship market is going to be huge. I mean, it was already here. I mean, what exactly are these women talking about? You think about it like this. If a woman would not have dated you at 23 years old, if the best version of her would not have dated you, and now she's 40 and she finds you interesting, but you don't look like nothing that she's dated in the past, especially when she's Bible thumping and she's 40, but she wouldn't have looked your way when she was 23. What exactly are you doing? Aren't you buying box? Because the only reason why she's with you is for money and security. She don't like you. So you're really just buying box. If you're not the man that the woman wants to be with, and you're not her preference, that makes you a trick. What else are you? Because she damn sure ain't with you because of your great looks or your charisma. And she's, especially if she's thumping the Bible and hitting you with verses and shit. She's coming at you with this. You know what I mean? Like she's hitting you, she's reading scriptures to you. Look, it's definitely not because you are that guy. And that's what you see right now. A lot of repackaging of pre-owned repackaging at full price. And that's the market right now. But a lot of gurus will take to it, and it's unfortunate. But it's hard to change the mindset and mentality of somebody who's programmed to only see the state as a source of, their own survival. He said, once men get over the stigma of buying box, it's going to be a rude awakening for so-called square women playing games. I think, to be honest with you, I think a lot of dudes buy box in quiet, or they barter box. I think a lot of dudes barter box. They'd be like, hey, maybe that guy is a good repairman, and somehow the lady who has bad brakes on her car, she invites herself over for one night, and in the morning those brakes get fixed. Like some shit like that. You know what I mean? Guys are buying box left and right. Guys are married buying box. Because if you're married to somebody who wasn't attracted to you and just married you for security, you're buying box. We're all guilty of buying box one way or another. They say if she likes you, you pay less. I've gotten over that hang up in life. When you get old, I'm 51 years old. Trust me, I've been married, divorced, whatever else. I'm afraid of, this idea of free box is a fantasy. And I think you see guys like Coach Greg Adams say stuff about time, energy, attention, and money. You're going to pay one way or another. I mean, you get to a certain maturity level, you realize that you didn't get away with nothing for free. Shit. If you're getting away with free box, that means you ain't slinging no meat the right way. If you're making women scream in the bedroom and have orgasms, you ain't getting away with no free box. You're either paying money or you're replacing windshields. You're either paying money or you're dealing with some criminal mischiefs at your house. Either way, you're paying. Or you're paying some child support, or you're paying with a venereal disease. Some way or another, you're paying. You're not going to get away with no free box. It's just not happening. I'm sorry. I've been seeing too much debauchery out here in these streets. They ain't getting away with nothing for free. I mean, it's just not. Because remember, there used to be a time in this, in the history of mankind where the price of sex was marriage. So even the guys back in the day, you talk about tribal cultures, dudes was exchanging sheep and goat and cows for the marriage and the hand in marriage and whatever else. I know there's a difference between traditional marriages and some guy buying some box, but the guy who's buying a box is nowadays is getting the deal. To be honest with you, I'm not suggesting men do it, but I'm thinking that nowadays I'm starting to believe that the prostitutes are the honest women. At least they're not trying to scam nobody. You go to the church, you see a whole bunch of retired whores in there, and they're trying to get some dude to marry them. So what's worse? Some prostitute selling some guy. So you know what she is. She's a prostitute. She's a whore. She sold some guy some box. Or some chick that's a retired 304 pretending to be some religious person at the church after she's been ran through. She's going to try and get some guy to marry her. And now he got to put his 401k on the line, his pension, his savings. I think the whore is more moral than that fake lady at the church trying to get some dude to marry her and steal all his shit. Treat that dude like crap, give him some sexless marriages and shit. You know what I mean? I'm sorry. I think the whore has more credibility. I mean, I don't know. I mean, at least she's not running no scam. What she's doing is morally wrong. But she's product, price, pay price, get product, leave. As opposed to false product, pay an exponentially huge, large price, give up your freedom, your resources, signed with the state, and you're getting the same 304, just in a religious form. That's all. So that's the grand scam of the situation. So either way, the truth is all men pay. And if the woman likes you, you pay less. Find a woman who likes you. That's all. Likes you a lot. And you'll get a major discount. This is what it is. Yeah, I mean, there's no question about it. In a straight up transaction, yeah. It's just that in the Black community, dudes think that they're a pimp. Even old ass dudes like me, 51 years old, they think they got that mouthpiece game. And most of those dudes are a bunch of fraud, lying bastards. They got no nice mouthpiece game. You either have leverage in terms of the ability to provide value, or you don't. But everybody has this pimp fantasy. When most pimps were crackheads, getting high on their own supplies, in and out of jail, and infested with diseases. There ain't no very few successful pimps out here. It's just not happening. So everybody think they the Don Juan of mouthpiece game. When all you run into is a bunch of goofies. I see them on the internet all the time. Selling that goofy ass 1950s game that don't work in 2025. It's like trying to game a prostitute. Why are you trying to game a prostitute? She's trying to get paid for her product. You're trying to game her out of it? God help you. That's the actions of a fool who's got a whole bunch of time on his hand. You know what I mean? Like, come on. These guys are stupid, man. I say, what old guys will rock, buy my game course. Yeah. He said, at least overseas, you get the girlfriend experience, better attitude, etc. It's worth the plane ticket. If you're going to stay in that environment, or go back in that environment frequently, if you're going to go back in that environment frequently, and yeah, as long as the dude has the discipline to understand that you meet some bar girl overseas, it is what it is. Don't try and turn some bar girl or some massage worker or some freelancer into a real girlfriend unless you have the, or unless you just on some rent, pay for play. Look, you're going to get this 15,000 baht a month or whatever price you're going to be paying her, and this is all you're going to get. I don't want to hear nothing about no people dying in your family. I ain't saving your buffalo. Your buffalo can go die. Don't tell me that your brother's motorbike don't work or any of that goofy shit that they be doing to dudes over there. That they get them to start simping and shit. If the guy can control himself and has a discipline, usually the masculine dudes that take part in that environment don't have no problems. You know, if they got the masculine strength to keep that relationship on the surface level. They don't allow the women to gaslight them, or they don't get caught up in that box. They be like, man, get out of here. There's 1,000 of you down the street here. You know, but if a dude's be getting in, you know, a 304 is going to be a 304. You can't turn a hooker into a wife or a girlfriend. It's just a temporary situation. You got to understand when you're dealing with those types of individuals that this is a temporary arrangement that involves how you going is how you're going to be. If it's a transactional relationship, keep it transactional and say, you got your money this month. Kick rocks. You don't tell me anything. You know, if dudes operate like that, but they got to be on some serious discipline level. Like, this is what it is. This is where it goes. And I control the narrative in the situation, you know. But some dudes don't have that strength. They be like falling in love with strippers and shit. You know what I mean? And they just don't have the discipline for it, you know. And they're probably better off just staying their ass home. It'd be another weird crash out passport bro video where dude just don't have no discipline, don't know how to handle 304s. 304s are not that complicated for guys like me, because once when I see them, I know what they are. I know what they're about. I know their purpose. And, you know, it's just what it is. But some dudes can't handle that shit. Yeah, they're no problem for me. But I don't even know if that passport thing is even going to be necessary anymore. I can make the argument that good old Trump is probably going to be, by default, destroying that passport bro movement, because the price is going to drop so low here. I mean, there won't be any need. Why would a guy get on a flight and pay $1,500 to fly all the way to the Philippines or Bangkok when these 304s around here are going to be serving them up what they need for $50 a pop? It wouldn't make any economic sense to fly anywhere for some of these guys, unless you're looking for a serious long-term relationship or something, because the price of box will be exponentially cheaper in the coming future. From what I've seen, I don't see there would be any necessity for any passport bros anymore. Well, passport bros thing, it just become a situation of economics where the market is just too flooded with low-hanging fruit for a guy to get on a flight. It's hard to catch flight with empty balls. It's just the way it is. I'm sorry. I mean, it sounds crazy, but it really is. I mean, what I'm seeing right now, and I don't see any changes with inflation right now, you know. Ultimately, after this election, this Tuesday, they're going to bring back the SNAP program, and they're going to bring back those benefits sooner or later, because there's no need to leverage anything anymore. You didn't get the seats that you want. Who's up for election? Who's up for election in the Senate November 4th? Let me see. In November 2025, the Senate. $2024. I got to look this up a little closer. All right, see who's up for election in 2025. find out who's up for election 2025. That's when they're going to like at least. That's when they're going to be like, okay, let's release the snap. All of a sudden, they're going to come and say, let's release the snap. We didn't win. Let's see who's up. So we go John Hickenlooper, Colorado, Tina Smith, Minnesota. Partial term for okay, 26. Yeah. Gene Sheehan of New Hampshire. So we got 3 for the Democratic ticket. And so let's see what's up for the other side. Really see anybody for election in 2025. So it should be interesting come after Tuesday, you see how quickly they reopen the government, because then the power thing is, they're using this as a power play to motivate people to come out and vote on Tuesday. That's the way they look at things. And obviously, I don't think it's going to work that well. It really isn't, because people are just frustrated and tired. They're tired of the nonsense, tired of politics. They really are. And especially when that money is not being put out the way it used to be put out. And realistically, they're going along the lines of wanting smaller government, less government interference. It just doesn't bode well for a lot of the people who are addicted to government support, government empowerment, government facilitation of their life. And that's why I made this stream, really, because we see what has happened when the government becomes your man, when the government becomes your source of self-esteem, your source of getting the things you want in life, your source of dependency for everything. It just all comes crumbling down, and it gets to the point where, it's crazy. And like I see some of these crash outs on social media. I'll be like, what? I'm like, what the hell is this? Like, it's really that freaky. Like, It's funny. I was thinking about it. Right, check this out. We'll play a little compilation before I get out of here. Salute to this content creator, Jake Day. Let's see what we got here. Let's watch a little compilation of these crash outs. Should be interesting.
Look like heat miser.
We're not getting food stamps in November. No. We're not doing this. I don't got no family to go over to their house and eat a dinner. Like, it's just me and my daughter at home. Her birthday is also in November, so I use them food stamps to get her a little cake.
The alternative could be worse.
Cake or death.
I have bills to pay and I only get Social Security. What is happening? Is the Social Security going to be next? Like, I have Section 8. Is the Section 8 going to be next?
Shock.
And, like, I can't even get a job because I don't got a car now. So, like, and for those people who say public transportation, yeah, well, I got to walk my daughter to and from school. So I got to pick her up by 3:30, drop her off by, like, 8, and somehow also manage
That's
to
great. Let's move on. Let's get the next one.
In November, you're taking away Medicaid. I gotta roll up for this one because
It's not even Trump. That's what's so funny. If I was on government assistance, I would know the ins and outs of government in the same way I know the ins and outs of the industries that I'm in.
it don't matter how much we scamming the system. We need our food stamps, okay?
Yeah, she said it. She admitted to it. She's scamming the system. Now, we probably means her friends are scamming the system as well. This isn't cool. If you're going to be scamming the system and taking money from taxpayers, do not brag about it. Can we bring back shame, please? Can we not be admitted?
No, let me get this off of here, man. Yeah, it's crazy, right? Imagine that. Like, you're scamming the system and you're bold enough to say that you're scamming the system. That takes a lot of courage. That really takes a lot of balls. That really does. I mean, I don't know how you do that. But I don't know where this is going, to be honest with you. Because you really, if you really think about it for a second, you think how much entrenched the entitlement is. I mean, it's like really, it's like sustenance. Like, like that temporary bridge that we all need, some people need sometime, that bridge to get them somewhere. This is like a lifestyle. It's like a lifestyle. But like I said earlier, now everybody's talking about relationships and how to bring people together, how to bridge the gap and bring people together. The same thing what Kevin Samuels was talking about. Isn't that amazing? Isn't that what Kevin Samuels was talking about? Isn't that what Sister Shahala Ali was talking about? Even the new version of Ayanna Van Zandt. Isn't that what she was talking about? Now all of a sudden, people want to have these conversations. I don't know. Too little, too late. But with that being said, let me get out of here for the day, man. Jerome Payne, Tahiti Ra, my brother Joe Jett. Salute to you, brothers, man. Make sure you hit the like button. Appreciate you guys joining me today. But I find it fascinating how things have changed just because the political climate has changed. I'm out. Peace.